Hey everyone. So it's been a while since my very avant-garde unboxing video of the EchoNous Kosmos probe. And I realized that I never had a chance to fully flesh out my experience with the device in like a full review video. But I recently got another package in the mail from EchoNous, and the contents are just dying to be discussed. So I figured that it was finally time to do just that. Okay, so to start off with, this is the EchoNous Kosmos Torso. So according to the team, the name EchoNous actually is a combination of echo, which is a reference to echocardiography, which is this particular device's primary strong suit, and nous, which is a Greek word meaning mind or intellect. The idea being that this is intended to be basically a smart ultrasound device, which is a reference to the dedication to creating a product that more or less seamlessly incorporates AI algorithms into their platform to further enhance its utility. And boy, does it ever. But more on that later. For now, I want to highlight one of the features that most people know about in regard to the Kosmos platform, the so-called 3-signal integration. The initial buzz surrounding this platform seems to have been focused heavily on the fact that not only is it a very high quality phased array probe that's intended to be kind of part of an ultra-portable smart device connected platform, but also that it sports 2 additional features that aren't typically found on a device like this. One being 2 small microphones that are actually embedded within the footprint of the probe itself, which allow for digital auscultation, which a lot of users might be familiar with if you've like literally ever been on Facebook, just due to the ubiquity of ads for the Echo digital stethoscope, and also a small little magnetic connector on the side of the probe that serves as an input for 3-lead EKG. Now, someone like myself, who's effectively a high-functioning idiot with a penchant for ultrasound, wouldn't typically get a whole lot of value from the addition of these 2 signals, but the idea behind it was that by getting all this extra data from these additional signals and feeding it along with the ultrasound signal into an kind of an overarching AI system, almost like kind of like a net, you know, like a net that gathers fish, but instead of fish, there's signals. So maybe that net would like be like in the sky. We can call it something like I don't know, like net sky, maybe. I'll work on that. Anyway, the idea was that a sufficiently advanced AI system could basically actively integrate all 3 of these signals, and it could provide an even more advanced cardiopulmonary evaluation of a patient than you're capable of just with one of those signals on its own, or separately integrating them in 3 different platforms: EKG, an ultrasound machine, and a traditional or even a digital stethoscope. And a system like this could basically be used to diagnose heart murmurs, make automated cardiac output measurements, identify tamponade the moment the RV starts collapsing in diastole, things like that. Now, obviously, a system like that is going to come with some trade-offs, especially when you're trying to pack it into an ultra-portable form factor. So in this particular case, the integration of those extra signals basically yielded a very large, kind of somewhat unwieldy probe with a substantial footprint that's like really noticeable when you're trying to actually get between ribs and get good cardiac images specifically. Some of the features seem to also have necessitated building additional hardware into this, which is the bridge unit, which is currently the only tablet or smart device that you can actually connect and use to drive these probes. Now, my impression of the original probe, the Kosmos Torso, is actually pretty similar to my impression of the bridge itself. They're both really advanced tools that are actually very well thought out and very well designed, but the ergonomics are just fundamentally limited by capabilities and specs that the company decided to hold themselves to. So if you're somebody who has the ability to actually utilize all of these additional capabilities, like a cardiologist or an echo tech, and especially if you have a workspace and a workflow that can mitigate some of the ergonomic issues, say the reliable presence of a stable platform on which you can actually place the tablet while you're scanning, then it makes a huge amount of sense, and it's actually a totally killer platform with very few drawbacks. On the other hand, if you're someone like me who either doesn't have the training or the experience level to incorporate the extra features reliably, or maybe does, but doesn't typically have the occasion to actually need that level of diagnostic specificity, and especially if you're using it in a chaotic environment where you might be doing a casual scan 1 minute and the next minute you're physically draped over a patient's body trying to get clear images of a heart while simultaneously jamming a needle into a very small and scary looking body cavity, then the additional features probably aren't going to give quite enough value to balance out the ergonomic compromises that you have to make to get that into this platform. So having come to this conclusion after using the device for a short period of time, I was actually kind of concerned that my initial enthusiasm for it being one of my new go-to probes might have been premature. And then, without any warning, everything changed. Enter Kosmos Torso One. I was actually aware of plans for newer probes that were theoretically coming down the line in the nearish future, but this one completely caught me by surprise, and it actually demonstrates how plugged into the end users this company really is. The Torso One is basically just a stripped down version of the original Torso probe, and it appears to have been specifically designed with all of my previous comments in mind, even though I honestly don't think that I passed all of those comments along to the team. What they've basically done is they've just straight up ditched both of the extra signals, which you can see has drastically reduced the size of the probe's footprint from just shy of 3.5 centimeters by 2 centimeters all the way down to 1.6 centimeters by 2.1 centimeters. The body of the probe itself remains about the same size at exactly 15 centimeters long from tail to footprint, about 5.3 centimeters wide, and about 3 centimeters thick. Weight-wise, the two probes differ by a margin that honestly probably won't be appreciated by most users, with the original Torso probe measuring 288 grams and the Torso One coming in at 275 grams. Okay, I know what you might be thinking, probably, yeah, okay, the footprint shrinking probably makes it easier to get views between the ribs, but otherwise you're not really getting much by stripping out the extra hardware. And to that, I say you are correct, but I'm only giving you partial credit. Not only does the reduction in the size of the probe's head facilitate imaging between the ribs like any other standard phased array probe is designed to do, but the specific way that they reshape the probe actually means that the probe as a whole is much easier to grip in several orientations. So that's one. Point two is completely unconfirmed and totally conjecture, but the current price listed on the company's website is $8,500 for the full Torso package, which includes both the Torso probe original itself and the bridge unit, with the stethoscope headset and the EKG leads sold separately. Now, there doesn't appear to be a price listed for the Torso One version, even though it is mentioned directly on their landing site, but I'm guessing that there will be at least a marginal price difference between the two probes, just based on the fact that there is the physical hardware that's being stripped out of the package itself. And this ultimately, hopefully, will end up bringing the system down to an achievable range for some folks if it wasn't already there. The third point is one that might not be compelling to everybody, but I think it's certainly compelling to any emergency physician or any ICU docs out there who like their tools to be basically stripped down and efficient whenever possible. Now, the word on the street is that the next evolution of this system is actually going to allow users to drive the probes directly from any Android smart device, whether that's a tablet or a phone, kind of similar to the way that Philips Lumify has been running their system. And that is honestly super game-changing, especially for me, for two reasons. A, I'm a huge fan of running my POCUS probes on a phone compared to a tablet. Screens these days are just so sharp that you basically lose nothing diagnostically as long as your face is reasonably close to the screen. And by ditching the tablet, which I couldn't really easily fit into my white coat pocket or into my cargo pockets and my scrubs, in favor of a phone that I've already got in my pockets at all times, it doesn't really take up any extra space, I went from actually being ready to send my original Lumify phased array probe back to the company to pretty much pulling it out and doing 2 or 3 scans on almost every single patient I saw. And it actually extended my relationship with the Philips Lumify device by almost a year. And secondly, it means that if you don't want to, you actually won't have to buy the bridge tablet, which is a significant amount of cost within the context of the whole package. And so if you're resource constrained, even if there's no cost difference between the two probes, taking out the requirement for the bridge tablet drops you down into a whole nother price category, and actually does, I think, substantially increase the number of people who are likely to get this particular device. And since I suspect that the difficulty utilizing the additional signals would only be exacerbated if it's even possible to run those signals on a platform without the specific integrated hardware that's present in the bridge device, you basically end up losing nothing in that scenario. So at this point, I suspect you're probably wondering what the image quality looks like on each of these probes and what kind of capabilities you're actually losing out on by switching from one probe to the other. So let's go ahead and dive in and do just that. All right, to start out with, we are going to plug in the Kosmos Torso, the original. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and get some images of the heart. Get some gel on our probe. Okay, and you'll see that I've already set my my probe indicator on the left side of the screen. That is, as always, just because I was trained in emergency medicine convention as opposed to cardiology convention. Others will do this differently, and so your images may appear different. Try not to judge me, please. It's just a convention. Okay, so I will apologize in advance. I have really crummy cardiac windows, and so this is going to be my best attempt to actually get something that's usable. So we'll start with an attempt being made at a parasternal lung, and again, I'm so sorry for my garbage windows. I'll try to collapse my lungs out of the way, which is a terrible phrase because I've actually had more than one collapsed lung. Okay, so you can see here my mostly parasternal lung axis. We're going to go ahead and turn up our gain just a touch. We're going to actually decrease our depth just to kind of make sure we maximize our screen space, and there you have it. So that's a pretty decent-ish parasternal lung. So this is your image quality. Let's go ahead and turn on our auscultation and see what you can hear. Now, you may not be able to hear that, but let's see if I can switch over my audio device. Nope, I cannot. All right. I'm going to go ahead and save a video of this, and maybe the audio will capture as well, but at the very least you can see the waveform here. Cool, okay, we've got a capture. You can see this replaying. Okay, so that's what your image quality looks like on the Kosmos Torso in the cardiac setting. Since the audio obviously doesn't come through super well with someone who doesn't have a murmur, I suppose, let's go ahead and check out some lung images, and let's actually see if there's any substantial change in the auscultation portion. So here we have my lungs, thankfully not collapsed today. Let's just double check. Beautiful, nice lung sliding there. Let's go over to digital auscultation, turn that on, see what happens. Now this is where I think we can finally say that we can ditch the freaking stethoscope. If we have a digital stethoscope that's built into our ultrasound tools, I'm officially saying that my stethoscope is no longer my wheeze detector. The only utility it provides me is actually as a reflex hammer, and it is going in the garbage. Okay, cool. So that's my lung. So let's move back to the heart. Let's swap out this probe, and we're actually going to jump over to the Torso One. Okay, so now that we've seen the images coming out of the Torso original probe, let's go ahead and plug in our Torso One. Okay, so notice first that the probe footprint on the screen is pretty much identical to the one we saw previously. And I don't know, folks, that looks pretty gosh darn identical in imaging quality. Maybe even slightly easier to get a view, which is, again, the whole point. Now, if you go over here in the UI, you'll notice that there's actually, you can't even interact with that particular element up here to get to the EKG or auscultation signals, because it recognizes that there's just no chance of it at all. Okay, so important things to note. While that functionality is not actually available, take a look at what is. So first off, boom. CW and PW Doppler. This, I believe, is PW. I don't think they've actually physically rolled out CW yet, but it's coming very soon. That's pretty dope. Dang. I miss having Doppler. The ultrasound machine at my current workplace does not actually have Doppler capability, and that is just tragic. But that is super duper cool, man. Alright. Oh, that's a really nice, rapidly updating B-mode image, huh? Whew. That's pretty cool. And then you can actually switch between live B-mode and live pulse wave. That's really outstanding. Okay, so here's the other things that are still possible. Obviously, M mode is still possible, whatever. My personal faves, the AI. Auto labeling is dope. Check this out. And these are basically garbage views, and it's still managing to pick it up. Can't even see the MV. And it's picking it up and knows where it is. Wow. That is so fast. God, I love this thing. Alright, takes it out. Reverse. Still able to pick up which one is the LV, even backwards and reversed in an EM convention. Sorry. This is so cool. Okay, that's outstanding. All right, so hopefully that gets you a better sense of the differences, similarities between the EchoNous Kosmos Torso and the Kosmos Torso One. Both are super interesting platforms. My strong suspicion is that when I eventually do double down and get a device of my very own, this is almost certainly going to be the one that I go for, the Torso One. And I suspect that, again, given my particular circumstances in the emergency department, I will be opting out of the bridge device. We'll see how much utility that sacrifices. My suspicion is that it won't be as much as I was fearing, but we'll kind of see. And I'll keep you guys updated as we move forward and as future products drop and so forth. So yeah, if you guys like that video, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you want to see more product demos like this, if you want to see more in-depth tutorials, if you want to see more clinical applications or real-world testing of these things in actual patients, things like that. And I'll do what I can to feed the beast. Okay, hope you all have a good one. Stay safe out there, wash your hands, wear a mask. Please just wear a mask. I want to have nice things again. This is why we can't have nice things. Please wear a mask. All right, peace out.